Pray for the shepherds. Pray for your shepherds more than you criticize them. Pray for them more than you email about them. Pray for them more than you gossip about them. Pray for them more than you blog about them. Pray that they would have a discerning mind to know who's a dog and who's a wolf and who's a sheep and who's a swine. And that's very difficult. Pray that they would have thick skin. Pray that they would have a humorous outlook and that they'd learn to laugh so that they don't kill themselves in depression. Pray that the shepherds would have a supportive family. God save any man whose wife doesn't have the gift of encouragement that has to preach the gospel. Pray that their wife would endure all the criticism, all the gossip, all the backbiting, all the religious people who want to use her to get power and influence. Pray that she would remain close to Jesus and her husband, that she would be a good helper, that she would be a prudent wife, that she would be an oasis of En-Gedi and a place of refreshment, that she would see that her job is to keep the pastor from despair by loving him with the love of Christ, by encouraging him, by not always agreeing with him, but agreeing that no matter what, she'll be for him. Pray for his children as they hear snide comments about their dad, as people take shots at the family. God forbid that one of the children should ever sin or go astray. Religious people love that. It's a pile of rocks that they love to throw. Pray for his family. Pray as well that somebody in the church, one of the elders, is a good sniper. That when the heretics and the false teachers and the wolves and the critics rise up, that if the pastor engages those who are shooting at him, he's in a lose-lose scenario. If he engages, he's a jerk and a bully and a thug, and he's abusing spiritual authority. And if he doesn't, he'll be criticized and maligned and pushed around and abused. It's a lose-lose. Pray that one of the elders is a good sniper, can step in and return fire and deal with it. Some of you elders who are here, you need to get in the middle. You need to get in the middle. And lastly, pray for the shepherds that they would learn selective hearing. They'd listen to Jesus and the Holy Spirit in the Scriptures, that they'd listen to their elders, that they would submit to spiritual authority, that they would invite into their life wise external counsel. Pray that they would learn selective hearing. Not everyone who speaks is worthy of an audience. Not everything that is said is meritorious of a response or a consideration. Shepherds can become so hard-hearted that their ears are just closed. They stop growing and they start justifying and defending themselves when they ought not. So do pray. Pray for the shepherds, that they would have selective hearing. Know who to listen to, who to submit to, who to heed, and who not to. I say this with all love. That's one of the reasons I'm here. There's a short list of people that I'll listen to. Some of you who are critics and snipers, you'll see someone who's maybe not where they should be, and a good shepherd comes along to encourage them, and you shoot the shepherd for trying to help someone who is struggling. Paul tells the Corinthians, there are not many fathers. There are not a lot of men who actually are willing to put an arm around a younger man, not justifying where he's at, not totally excited about how he's doing it, not really thrilled with some things that he's said and done, but hopeful for where he's going, and knowing that with some help, he'll improve by the grace of God. Pray for the shepherds. Pray for the young shepherds, that older shepherds would not shoot them like wolves, and would not criticize them like dogs, but would encourage them like dads. I'll close with this quote from Charles Haddon Spurgeon. Many hearers lose much blessing through criticizing too much. When you go to church, go to learn, not to criticize. Look for what God would have for you, not a rock you could throw. Many hearers lose much blessing through criticizing too much and meditating too little. And many more incur great sin by calumniating those who live for the good of others. A real shepherd lives for the good of others. True pastors have enough of care and travail without being burdened by undeserved and useless fault-finding. We have something better to do than to be forever answering every malignant or frivolous slander which is set afloat to injure us. There are tender, loving spirits who feel the trial very keenly and are very sadly hindered in brave service by cruel assaults. The rougher and stronger among us laugh at those who ridicule us, but upon others the effect is very sorrowful. If you're one of those brothers, I am deeply sorry. I'm deeply sorry. As ministers, we are very far from being perfect. And just so you know, between a good wife, real elders, the Holy Spirit, and Satan, whatever you tell us, we probably already know. As ministers, we are very far from being perfect, but many of us are doing our best. And we are grieved that the minds of our people should be more directed to our personal imperfections than to our divine message. Filled with the same spirit of contrariety, the men of this world still depreciate the ministers whom God sends them and profess that they would gladly listen if different preachers could be found. This is before the day of the internet and radio, when you now compare your pastor of his little flock to the great preachers of the world, which is like comparing your wife to another woman. It is an act of betrayal. Nothing can please them. Their cavils are dealt out with heedless universality. Cephas is too blunt, Apollos is too flowery, Paul is too argumentative, Timothy is too young, James is too severe, John is too gentle. Well then, let each servant of God tell his message his own way. To his own master he shall stand or fall. Judge the preacher if you like, but do remember that there is something better to be done than that, namely, to get all the good that you can out of him and pray his master to put more good into him.